Hey everyone, thank you for joining.
Hi Luca.
Hi Luca.
Hey Roberto.
Hi Luca.
Max, thanks again, Alessandro. Also, Allegre, I have to say, Machinarium is a great game, and I saw your avatar, and that's awesome. I remember it.
Thank you so much. Not all the people recognize the game.
You see, this is a call for people of culture, people that know.
Yeah.
So let's just wait a second so that maybe other people might want to join. So I'm going to take a look at who originally accepted the invitation, and so we'll be able to start. Originally, yeah, we have Furkan and Sumit, who might be joining us.
Hello, folks. Nice to meet you.
Hey, very nice to meet you. Very nice to hear you.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Awesome. And is your friend?
Yeah. I asked Furkan to come and join this session, so I am waiting a response from him.
Awesome. Thanks also Thomas for joining, and thanks to Sumit for joining.
Hey guys.
Thanks so much. Hello.
Wait just a couple of minutes, and then we can start. In the meantime, if you have not done this yet, please take a look at the document that I have posted. I will.
Luca, can you share it one more time?
Yes,
in here?
I will
chat.
share.
Yeah, thank you.
I will share everything one more time in both in the channel and in this chat. So, with the chat and with the channel. I will also use that document to make some notes about what we discuss. Hey Lorenzo, thanks for joining.
Hello everybody. Hi Lorenzo.
There is thanks for putting your name there. I believe that's all the people that have accepted the initial invitation. So thank you everyone for joining and for being interested in the Falco. So in improving the supply chain security for Falco. Before starting this call, of course, I have to remind you that this is part of the Falco community calls, and therefore the CNCF code of conduct applies to this call as well. Therefore, essentially, please be nice to everyone else in the same way we all do during the regular Falco calls and during any other CNCF events. In addition, this meeting is also recorded in the same way that the regular Falco community call is. We're on the same channels. So if you wish to show your face, you can turn your webcam on. Otherwise, you can keep it off. And now I believe you can add your name to the meeting notes in the document. Currently, we only have one document, but we might be planning to expand that. And I think we should get started. So to summarize, I hope you had a chance to take a look at what I wrote personally in the document. To summarize, I think I wanted to propose this working group to essentially improve some of the areas of Falco, especially how we distribute our binaries and our artifacts and how we think about our own security. Since Falco is a security tool, I personally, as a user, would want the best and most up-to-date security standards to be applied to its distribution and everything. So there are some areas that I personally feel that we can improve and they require some work. The areas that I have mentioned are in terms of signing. So right now, as you might have seen, we are distributing not just binaries for the program, but also for, let's say, for kernel modules, which is actually kernel code that runs with the highest privileges on our machine, and that's not signed. And also generally improving for example, the container images are not signed and all these things. Second, if you have tried to run a software composition analysis tool onto the Falco image, you have probably noticed that you see a ton of vulnerabilities that are false positives. And last but not least, in terms of big ideas, the fact that if you think about the vulnerabilities within the Falco application itself, there's no tool that can actually tell you, as for a specific version of Falco, what this is vulnerable to, because software composition analysis tools are not able to get anything out of it because it's statically linked, and there's no other piece of metadata that can help you. And I wish to have something like that. So that's the general purpose of the meeting. Before we actually start discussing this, I actually should have done this earlier, but we might want to introduce ourselves a little bit. So I know that maybe some people that are here do not know each other. So I will start, of course. I am Luca. I work at SysDig as an engineer. I worked on Falco and a bunch of other things. But now I'm mostly focusing on Falco and all the related libraries. One thing that made me start this working group is the fact that I could talk about security probably way too much. So I hope not to bore anyone. And that's about it. And I am also a maintainer for Falco and for some of the repositories, infrastructure, and so forth. So anyone wants to briefly introduce themselves before I pick someone? Sumit.
I can go. Hello, everyone. My name is Sumit. I work at Oracle, and at Oracle, I am responsible for the CNCF contributions for Falco project. And me and Matt, so there's another person, we are a team of two, and Adao, three of us attend the Falco meetings, and we internally plan to work and contribute more and more to Falco projects as the time progresses on. The Falco, this particular Falco working group definitely got my interest more than any other, as I do have experience in system security. I have worked in this area for past 10+ years across multiple companies like Adobe and Nutanix. And this particular area of co-signing the libraries and securing supply chain has my personal interest. I want to build my skills and work on the project as well. So that's what I'll bring all to the table. I'll let anyone else go next. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, I can go. Hello, folks. Thanks for having me. My name is Botana Paydan, and I have been working for Trendyol for many years. But everybody knows me as developer guy because I use developer guy nickname in public, especially in my contributions. everybody believes me, I am an expert of the software supply chain security, but believe me, I am not. I am just here to help and learn from you, because Falco community is a great community, one of the great communities in the open source ecosystem. So I am here to help, and I wanted to help the Falco community to apply these kind of supply chain security things to the Falco projects. Yeah, that's all for me.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you so much. Please.
Hi everyone, I'm Roberto. I'm an intern at Sysdig, and I just joined this fantastic community, and nothing, I'm a cybersec guy.
Hello everybody, I'm Lorenzo. I'm working at Sysdig too, in team with Luca and Roberto, and I'm looking forward to be able to help and learn from this working group. Really curious. That's all for me.
Hello everyone, I'm Massimiliano. I work as a cloud solution architect in Clastics now, and I joined the Falco community by contributing, I think, more or less 2 years ago in the Falco test infra. And well, now I'm still trying to contribute and be helpful in the community. And yeah, I think that's all for me.
So I am Alessio Greggi. I work with Massimiliano. I'm his colleague in Clastics. I'm a kind of a engineer, and I'm also known as Allegre91 on GitHub and other social. So I'm here just for curiosity. I was really interested in the topic, so I hope to learn something and hope to teach maybe if I can to someone else. That's all.
Hey folks, Fred here. I am a cybersecurity researcher at IBM Research in New York, and I have been using Falco/Sysdig for many years since it came open sourced, and more recently I've joined the Falco community, which is a great community to be part of a couple of years ago. And I'm also maintainer of the Sysflow project, which builds on the Falco libs. So again, very close interaction with the libs. And I have been interested in the concepts of SBOMs and software supply chain for quite a while now. And I've been looking into this space of how to generate SBOMs for C++ based code bases, and it turns out that it's not simple. So I'm happy to join this working group and also learn from you guys and be able to contribute. So yeah, thanks for this opportunity.
Yeah, thanks for the introduction. Maybe I can go here. And I am Furkan and living in Turkey, and both are one of my colleagues, and we work together for 2 or 3 years. And I am also very first contributors of Project Sixtor, and I usually do mostly do platform engineering stuff and a strong interest in supply chain security for 2 or 3 years nowadays. And it's nice to be being part of one of these working group. And thanks for this again.
And last but not least, our tired and frozen man from France.
Nice. So I'm Thomas. I'm working at Sysdig as open source and ecosystem advocate. but I'm involved in the Falco community for 5 years, I think. I created some small projects around Falco. I was SRE before.
Very cool. Thank you so much for all for introducing yourselves. I know doing this over a call is a tiny bit awkward, but not everyone knew the other people, so it had to be done. Anyways, out of the things that you just said, I think there's two of the themes that I have just mentioned that appeared a lot. One is actually supply chain security expertise in terms of the best way of signing everything. And the second is what Fred mentioned about trying to generate an SBOM for C++, which is kind of a nightmare, and I'm in the same, and definitely agree with that, but it would be awesome to get there, to get a way of doing it. So anyone that I know that some of you have already participated in working groups like this one, and you actually built ways to sign to sign packages and to do this kind of things. Do you want to maybe give your ideas instead of myself just boring you with the same ideas that I wrote in the document? Do you have any comments on your area of expertise, such as signing, such as the actual supply chain security end-to-end process, the pieces that we miss, and what, because right now I think we want to define what we want to have out of this working group. What is it that we're going to make? Of course, it might be defined over a couple meetings, but that's where we want to get. I believe maybe developer guy, you had ideas, you had some expertise, maybe you had some comments that you wanted to share with us, or anyone else that has experience in supply chain security. I lost the developer guy. Sorry, but I don't know how to actually pronounce your name properly. 5 minutes. Okay. We almost lost developer guys. So anyways, as I mentioned, I think also Furkan has mentioned something about signing the kernel modules. Sound great. Now, there's several ways of doing so. Have you ever worked with any of the ways to actually sign artifacts? Because we have several ways of doing in Falco. And what I am thinking is ideas for first distributing signing modules and their signatures, and second, how to properly verify the signature before this actually gets executed in our machines, into our kernels. Does anyone have ideas, or I can go with what I thought, but this could be something. I think it's an interesting topic.
Maybe I can drop some of my thoughts about your ideas, such as one of the I like the signing kernel modules, and there are some issues in the Falco security group, like signing OCI artifacts, or for example, and release artifacts, such as maybe we can create a tracking issue or start a documentation to keep them, and we can some request for the comments and like RFC or another stuff, so that we can track how we sign the artifacts and how we sign the kernel modules, who should verify them, so on. And I think it'd be great to have start a documentation for this, and yeah, actually it's.
Thank you so much, Falco. So you have mentioned some very interesting things. First is OCI artifacts. And as I don't know if you knew, but Falco does support OCI artifacts, not for drivers. And I think this is one of the outcomes that we can have out of this working group. Because there is a companion tool for Falco called Falco CTL that is able to download the OCI artifacts coming from any Falco, any repository. And actually, we already have those for plugins. I will be sharing my screen if Zoom cooperates. And I think that's
Luca,
yes.
for the drivers, are you planning to also generate OCI artifacts to host all of them like we do for plugins? Because we are talking about thousands of drivers.
You're talking about, sorry, what about drivers? I didn't get the word.
Right now, I know Falco CTL, I'm just moving forward just a little bit, but plugins and rules are now shared as OCI artifacts. And Falco Kernel is able to download, list them, or search amongst all available artifacts. But we also have a huge thing, which are the drivers. And right now, the drivers are only provided through an S3 bucket. Are you planning to also store them as OCI artifacts in GCP, in GCHR, in the registry of Google, like we do for plugins and rules? But we are talking about thousands of drivers, so it's just such amount of OCI.
So that's I think that's a great idea, and that's one of the things that we could do together. Personally, I believe this is one of the things that we could do together, because for people that didn't know, what Thomas just mentioned is the fact that we now have all these plugins and even the rules files that can be downloaded from as OCI artifacts. As you know, GitHub is saying that I should be doing, actually, this is actually wrong, but it says that I should be doing Docker pull, but instead Docker won't work with those because these are custom OCI artifacts and are not Docker images. But you can use the tool called Falco CTL to get the artifacts and you can have them for plugins. There's two problems here. First is actually doing the same for drivers. And as Thomas mentioned, we have thousands of them. So it's a lot of drivers. I mean, GitHub does give us, I think, unlimited space for unlimited storage space for packages in open source organizations. So I think it might be possible to use GitHub itself, but there are a couple of problems. Maybe there is something that wouldn't work, and on the other end, at that point, however, it will allow us to sign them. So I think to answer your question, I think we should do it together. I think we should really explore the possibility of signing OCI, of using signed OCI packages for drivers as well. That's probably the thing that makes most sense to do. So at the end, instead of shipping that script that we now ship, that is called Falco Driver Loader, we can actually use the companion tool Falco CTL to download those drivers. This would have, I think, also additional benefits. The first is what Fred mentioned at some point, the fact that if you are building a tool that isn't actually Falco, is something else and depends on the same libraries, you are going to have a bad time when you try to download the module, because the module, you have to bring in that script, and that script is maybe not the best, and you have to recreate a version for your own project. Instead, by having Falco CTL, Falco Cattle, however you want to call it, that would just work. And so you independently, if you use it with Falco or if you use it with another project. So I believe that this is something that we have to explore. So it would be awesome if any one of you wants to get some experience with OCI artifacts or has already experience with OCI artifacts and want to try their hand at experimenting with this because I believe it's a step that we have to try and make and see if it works, if it makes sense, if there is problems, additional problems that we didn't see. So so I will write this down, but actually, if anyone actually wants to experiment with that, please please say, and we can work together because we can share some expertise. I have some expertise, and Lorenzo has some expertise as well on this. And we can help. We can do it together. So we can try and see how this would work.
I just wanted to add that if the concerns is about GHCR as a service, well, Falco Cattle should be able to interact with the container registry in general. So we can choose maybe to store drivers, ECR, or the relevant tool of GCP or something like that. And also an interesting discussion popped out at late November on this, and also Max participated. And basically, the community is moving towards using OCI artifacts for signing. Because basically they implemented the referrers API. I don't know if any one of you is knows about that, but maybe we can use that issue and start the discussions also from there. I'm gonna add it to the HackMD.
Okay, so please do, and really. Anyone that wants to take a look, try and take a look. Maybe it could be either someone that has experience with OCI artifacts and you know, can share their experience, or maybe someone that doesn't and wants to take some time to experiment, just do something and has an entire working group of people that have worked with that to work together. So I think tracks this feature proposal. This is about signing. I think these are two things. One, try and publish the drivers as OCI artifacts. And the second is also adding signatures. So let's put it like that. Let's put it.
Look at also there is another PR started by the Massimiliano about signing Falco artifacts by using Pro, I think. I'm not sure, I'm not pronouncing it correct, but it should be Pro, right?
Yeah, it's well, it's about the artifacts used by Pro as images for the CI jobs that are currently running in CI, and that I think that will wait for these decisions, because I think that we could, and we should, at least we should provide a standard way to, I mean, across the Falco's organization, at least, to sign and verify all the artifacts. So, for example, if you are using, we are going to choose OCI as a standard format for artifacts. Also, the way that we sign that. So, because there are different implementation, cosign is using one, and at the same time there are other projects implemented on top of OCI, other formats with different also protocol of signing and so on. So I think if I can add something, I think that in order to help us to work and also guide all this work, we can map the time frame. So when do we need to secure things. So from, I would say, from left to right. So from development to the building to distributing those artifacts. Then what? So what do we want to secure? So which are the artifacts that we, in example, that we are going to and we want to secure? So an example, we are talking about sign in. At the same time, how then do we want to, for example, to verify these signatures? And well, also the format. So how do we want to secure this stuff?
Thank you so much, Max. Absolutely great points. I completely agree that one of the purposes of our work is actually trying to answer to these questions. And personally, even the first one, what type of signatures do we want to use? What signing method do we want to use is a mystery for me, because I know that there's a lot of technological development about this, but I'm personally not really an expert about it. The point I didn't understand completely.
This approach via sign. Yeah. Okay.
The point I understood a little bit, and then I'll let you speak, developer guy. The point I understand a little bit less is when to secure, like when in the build pipeline, right? In the build pipeline and this kind of things. But so just that I can write it down. But please, developer guy, go on about the format to use, because here is where we need you.
I think there is two answers of that question. One, how Cosine is storing this kind of supply chain materials today, and how is going to store this kind of things in future. So today, Cosine using image tags right now, but in the future, they will be using something we call OCI refers, which basically extends the OCI image specification for storing this kind of supply chain materials, such as SBOM, provenance, because there are more than signatures in software supply chain security space. We need to think about the provenance, vulnerability scanning metadata, and SBOMs in general. So today, Cosine using image tags, or say image tags, to store these kind of things. For example, provenance, for example, signature. But in the future, they will change it with OCI refers. OCI refers is kind of a newest integration in the OCI industry, because there was a group called VG reference types, I guess. The OCI refers API is the initial work of that group, and it was merged into the upstream OCI image specification recently, I believe. So in the upcoming feature, Cosine will start using OCI refers through the Go container registry package, because Cosine using the Google's Go container registry package heavily in their code base. Yeah, I think we should keep our eye on OCI refers, because let me share some of the work they started to implement. OCI referer, just give me a couple of seconds.
I think I've written down the referrers as subject in the in that issue. If you got this that part of code up just a bit.
Where are you? There you go. There you go.
This one. Yeah, this is what developer guy is talking about, and I strongly agree with him. And as you can see, the subject in the code is the referrers, meaning that to these artifacts, there is a link towards the signature, and that is how the signature and the artifact are stored together. So yeah, I think this is a viable way and we should take it into account.
Yeah, totally agree with Lorenzo. And I have a presentation about OCI refers. Maybe you can share it in your screen. Just give me. Here is the link presented by the Brandon Mitchell, who is one of the container learning ecosystem there, and one of the members of the BG reference type groups. Just here is the reference groups GitHub repository. You can find all the details related to their work about OCI refers. Just give me a couple of seconds here. So maybe, okay. Yeah. In the upcoming sections of the presentation, you will see something called referrers in the OCI image specification that Lorenzo mentioned earlier. Maybe you can switch back to the presentation and we can see. Yeah, I don't know which page exactly contains this information.
What are you looking for? You said working group over here.
I am looking for an OCI manifest representation. Just okay, let me find
artifact manifest. This probably.
Yeah, there should be an example of the OCI referrers.
It's this one. Yeah.
Let me see. Yeah. In the future, there will be a field in the OCI image specification be named refers, and these refers field basically refer to other image that we store these kind of supply chain materials in the future. So it gives us a chance to see all the images referers in the OCI image specification. So it makes easier to see all the things related with an image. So today we need to see, actually we need to check all the image tags to find attestations, provenance, SBOM, signature, these kind of things. So the refers API gives us ability to see all things together in one page, let's say. But it's still in progress. So I think we should focus on the exact solution right now. So we are going, if we are going to use cosine today, we will be storing these kind of materials via image tags. But in the future, there will be a field called refers to see. Actually, it makes us easier to relate these kind of things with an OCI image. Today, we are using a soft reference. How can I explain soft? Okay, so soft reference means, have you ever looked at the signatures content before that we store in the OCI image? Have you ever looked at into the what actually be stored as a signature of an image? Have you ever looked at it?
No.
Just give me another link. Yeah, this one. Actually, cosine creates something like this. Reddit created a decade maybe ago. You can a little bit scroll down.
That's what.
Yeah. This is the format that cosine uses as a signature. Basically, cosine use that structure as a signature of an image and store it as an OCI image in registry. Basically, you notice that there is a thing called an image and the Docker reference. This is what we call a soft reference, because there is no guarantee that this image is referencing to the exact image in the OCI registry. So they basically tries to make it a strong reference by creating a reference API that they call reference API.
Okay, so wait a second. You said that this is a soft reference. That's because this is just a field. Like this, nothing is enforcing this field to point to anything. Or would a referrer be stronger because the content of it is different?
I don't know the exact difference between the strong and soft reference, but this is all I know about it.
Okay, well,
I remember I wrote an article about this kind of soft and strong references. Maybe it might be a live stream talk, but I don't remember.
Okay, that's really really cool stuff, and as you have been able to see, also we had this kind of idea of doing something, but we didn't do it yet because it's hard to understand how you want to do it today, because at this point you look at tags and you feel like it's not great because it's just an image with a different tag, and you feel like there should be something better, and
yes,
there is, but it's not there yet. So how do we want to work on this? First of all, we don't know when this is going to hit upstream, so, or to be at least in the OCI full specification. So that's right. So there's no clear timeline for it yet.
Yeah, I think it's already merged into the upstream OCI specification, but we should wait until the clients, for example, ORAS and Go Container Registry, to implement this OCI referrers API into their code base. I think there is an already support in ORAS for OCI referrers API, I guess. But
exactly.
Yeah.
There's already support for that. There's an API that's called indeed referrers, and it should be working in ORAS. And furthermore, ORAS it's the library that we actually used in Falco Cattle, so it would be, in my opinion, a perfect match.
Yeah, Lorenzo, good point. I think you should add yourself into the ORAS implementers page. Maybe you can, maybe you can promote Falco CTL is one of the ORAS implementers.
That's a great idea. Let's write it like this in a point.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
Right now, I think it's a little bit too early to discuss about how to do that or that with COSA, is it possible or not? Because have we already list all kind of artifacts we are supposed to sign? Basically, right now we are talking a lot about the OCI and in Docker images artifacts, but in the Falco ecosystem, we have so much more. For example, we are providing compiled binaries. We are providing packages for operating system like .deb or .rpm. All these stuff are also artifacts, and I'm not 100% sure we can do the exact thing to sign them like we want to do with the OCI compliant artifacts like Docker images and so on. Just remark we have to keep that in mind, or maybe we just drop them and we are just focused on the OCI. But in my position, I think it could be really nice to also provide signed compiled binaries, especially for Falco Cattle, because it will be the key element to manage all OCI artifacts at the end.
This is a very good point, I think, because, and that was what was I referring when I said what do we need and what do we want to secure? I mean, what do we want? What do we want to secure, and what do we want to improve the way we secure this stuff? So, personally, I don't think that, even if it's very cool, we can't use old OCI or for all the artifacts OCI is a format. So as Thomas was referring to, there are distribution packages and binaries in license and so on. So I think also, even if I like a lot this new stuff that is happening in containers world, I think it would be better to start having a broader look at which are the artifacts that Falco now provides. Besides, I mean, what can be stored as OCI artifact? But just to the point, and
I have another point. I'm not sure whether this is relevant right now or at some other point in time, which is that when we are signing a package or signing a binary, I want to understand that how are we going to secure that signing key? And if we have to rotate the signing key in future, what will that look like as well?
Hello, Sumit. Welcome to the future, because we have rotated the key today.
I know
So,
this is kind of like relevant to what the Circle CI thing happened.
that is completely correct. Absolutely, absolutely. Yes. The one of my additional points. First of all, thanks a lot. Those are all great points, because we are thinking OCI because we are distributing stuff as OCI, and the stuff that we run as OCI is actually running in your Falco image, so it ought to be signed. But still, we have a ton of stuff. We have binaries. How do we take everything together is a great question, and even just listing all the things that we want is a great starting point. So thanks a lot, Thomas, Max, and Sumit. In terms of the key, this was one of another point that I had. I know right now we do have a private key that is just a GPG private key, and this is one of the secrets that we have in the CI. The secret is, of course, shared as securely as possible between all the CIs that need to do it, but it's one key. If this needs to be rotated, the operation is rather painful, because what we have to do is essentially providing a new signature, uploading it to the website and to the public repos, and then adding that signature to all the artifacts, to all the Falco versions, the binaries that we're already distributing. So every binary now has a different signature that it had before, and the previous one will actually expire in a month. But that's really something that if you think about scaling this for every artifact that we have, it could become a nightmare really fast. So I know that out of all this, there are also ways to sign without having to manage the key itself, but I don't know how practical they are, or how if anyone has tried them. I know that we do have support for cosign for one image exactly right now, and it now gains support for keyless signing. But do we want to explore this possibility? Do we want to? Does anyone have an opinion on keyless signing, and would it apply to all the artifacts that we want to sign? Probably not. And is it a problem if we have multiple keys? I know that maybe Thomas Massimiliano, or a developer guy, have thought a bit about this problem, or at least think about what we want to do. We want to think about one solution that works for everything, or we want to have several different types of solutions.
Yeah, great opinions. Look up, by the way, and maybe we can, additional to your comments, maybe we can think of supporting or adding, I don't know, SSA level 3 in the future, like using, for example, SSA provenance generator, GitHub Action. Some projects already using them, so we can put a badge in the README Falco CTL or Falco, and we can mark them. Yeah, this project is supporting SSA level 3, and also I have a small concern that would be a bit out of context, but maybe we can I am just thinking of day 2 operations. We mostly talk about signing, but maybe we also should think to verifying. How we are going to verify some stuff in the runtime, or how Falco will verify downloaded modules. And we should keep in mind some companies or users have running the Falco in air-gapped environments, and cosign, especially on the other hand, heavily dependent on the network requests, and we should find a way out. If we're going to keyless, how we support the air-gapped environments. If we're going to create a public key, we should find a way out to bake it the public key into Docker images. Like that, there's some of my concerns.
Okay, so basically, I hear the fact that even if you think about keyless or whatever, they need the connection to the network, and that's not always available. Right now, what we do is standard RPM and depth signing, which works whether you have network access or not, because the key is kind of baked in the image if you deploy an image. But what if, I mean, the fact that this is network dependent, do we actually have to trust the fact that we are network dependent? If Falco Scale gains the ability to verify our signatures, at the end of the day, when you download something with Falco Scale, you're already connected to some kind of network, because otherwise you don't need Falco Scale. You are going to just embed your stuff in the image, and in that case, there is already a connection. So if the signature required to verify that does require a network connection itself, I think that's kind of fine. We are probably okay with it, because you are already downloading something from our server. So as usual, you have to download the key from somewhere, and then you download the artifact, and then you verify them. So that could still work. But yeah, can you also write down also the other points that you mentioned? So how are we going to sign? How we are going to, sorry, not to sign, to verify. How are we going to verify?
Just about the question of with key or keyless signing. If we are signing the drivers, we are talking about almost 10,000 of drivers for each Falco release. And with a key, if we have to resign all drivers for the previous versions of Falco, it will take not days, but weeks. We see for each Falco release, it takes up to 48 hours before having whole drivers. So if we have to resign all of them, it could take a long time too.
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. So there are some points now. There is some of this stuff that someone might want to try and take a look. So of course, for this meeting, my main point was just to get to know each other and to start brainstorming stuff, so that we can try and see them. But I would really love to write down some of the goals later for what we can actually concretely doing. Does anyone already have a bit of time to try and experiment a bit with some of these? For example, if you're not completely familiar with OCI artifacts, you can maybe try and take a look at how they work and how we implement them, and how to actually perform signing. Because, for example, key and also signing with key and keyless is something that, for example, I'm not particularly confident about. And if even right now, if anyone has resources that we can take a look, those would be very appreciated. And I can actually write the last point from Thomas, that is, come on, if we have to rotate a key, it's too painful to do it, especially if we start signing a ton of artifacts.
Luca, I am going to propose something, and I believe maybe we can create a presentation about the signing software with cosign and keyless, keyful approach, OCI artifacts, all the things with Furkan in the upcoming meetings, software supply chain working group meetings. What do you think about that? Maybe we can, yeah, okay. Maybe we can create a demo about how things work in general by. Maybe we can also start working on signing Falco CTL. That might be a case for us to present as a demo. But first, maybe we can talk about cosign and all the keyful and keyless approach in general, and maybe we can talk about OCI artifacts as well, and this kind of things in a small demo in the upcoming meetings.
This is really cool. This is what we absolutely need, and
yeah, okay. We will do that. Yes,
but one
you can.
But one, if you need an example, we almost already know. You can take Falco Psychic, because thanks to you and Carlos Panalto,
yeah,
Psychic is already signed with cosign. So you can use it as example if you want.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. That's a good point.
We also need to discuss a little bit more about vulnerabilities and CVE in the images. We focused on the supply chain security, but it might be a part to include the CVE scanning for the images, and so globally for the code base.
Okay, Thomas. I think I got your point, and it's actually, if there's one thing I'm expert in this whole thing is how software composition analysis and vulnerability scanners work. I know more than I wanted to know about how these tools work. And so, Thomas, was your question about the vulnerabilities in the Falco image, or was your question about more easier, let's say, way of locating vulnerabilities in our
it was a global question about this, because we often have people coming on Slack to complain about how many vulnerabilities and CVEs they can find with Trevi or else in the Falco images, even if at the end the CVEs are not at all related to Falco, but more about the aside packages inside the image. So we need to find out a way to maybe scope more the images, or just to provide more secure environment for people.
This is a great point, and as you probably noticed, I wrote it as one of the points that I wanted to explore. Today we're out of time. I could talk to you about that for hours, but I don't want to hold anyone hostage. So this can be a topic for a subsequent meeting, because that's how it's going to be. However, a question for everyone. About the schedule. Since we are out of time, I wanted to ask what you think about the schedule. I have set this as a weekly meeting, but I don't know if people have time to join a weekly meeting, or if you prefer it to be once every 2 weeks or something like that. Does anyone have a strong preference on this? Do you think it's fine to have it weekly and decide if we want to have it or not, like the Falco call every week, or any other ideas?
I'm of the opinion that weekly meetings are good, and at least at the start part where we are trying to outline what work needs to be there, what will that look like. So having a weekly meeting will be useful for the working group.
I think I kind of agree. So if anyone has other ideas and so forth, you can write to the channel. So we're out of time, so I don't really want to hold anyone hostage. And we discussed over a ton of things. So anyone that has ideas, more things, please, we can use the channel to communicate. I will apologize in advance because, as you might know, Falco 034 release is right around the corner, and this was delayed because of the thing that we just mentioned. Sumit, you mentioned the Circle CI thing, and I mentioned secret rotation. Those took a long time for us to properly make sure that our supply chain is not compromised when we are releasing the new version. So the release operation was delayed a bit, and I have a ton of work to do on that. So I apologize in advance if I won't be super reactive on these topics, because just because there is a high priority thing to do for Falco. I'm extremely happy about all the ideas that we have shared, and we should continue on this, and so to get to a point where we set goals, and I think some of the things we discussed, we should get them there for Falco 035. That would be the version that comes at the end of May, and that would be awesome for the entire community. It's 7 p.m. Yeah, you developer guy, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to say thank you, Luca. It's a pleasure to work with you all. Thank you.
Thank you all. I'm flattered to see so much interest about these ideas, and it's the first time for me to propose a working group. So it's really with a cool bunch like you. I hope it's going to be a great experience for everyone.
Yeah, thank you for having us, and kind words. Was a great brainstorming.
Thank you so much for joining, and have a nice day or lunch probably for Fred, and evening for me, and and whatever for everyone. See you all next week, and hear from you in the channel. Let's keep these ideas flowing, and let's make the Falco security project the most secure that it can be. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.